The Battle of Amiens, the beginning of the end of World War I. Names like Verdun, the Somme, Passchendaele, Ypres, Belleau Wood, and countless other locations across northern France and Belgium forever evoke the brutality of World War I. In these places, millions of men fought and died, often over just a few meters of land, driven by loyalty to their nations. But among them, the Battle of Amiens, what would later become known as the beginning of the 100 Days Offensive, stands out as a decisive moment that signaled the beginning of the end of this bloody conflict. Exactly 1 century ago, in what was once a quiet town, this battle marked the end of the 4-year trench warfare stalemate and the beginning of Germany's downfall. For the Allied forces, which included Britain, Australia, France, Canada, and the United States, Amiens represented the culmination of technological innovation and modern military tactics. The Allies deployed an unprecedented force. 500 tanks, 2,000 aircraft, and 2,000 artillery guns were used in this battle. Within just 3 days, they advanced nearly 12 miles, about 19 kilometers, into German-held territory. Such progress had been unimaginable during the previous 4 years of brutal trench warfare. But Amiens was not just the beginning of the end of World War I. Many historians consider it the birth of modern combined arms warfare. Unlike the common image of World War I, muddy trenches, endless shelling, and waves of soldiers being gunned down by machine guns, the Battle of Amiens demonstrated dynamic, fast-paced movement and coordination between infantry, tanks, artillery, and aircraft. According to Catherine Long from the Imperial War Museum in London, this was the first large-scale orchestra of modern battlefield elements moving together with purpose and precision. On the other hand, this new style of combat also shocked many soldiers. Most had never experienced such swift and coordinated military maneuvers. By the end of the fighting, the Allies had suffered around 46,000 casualties, dead and wounded, while German losses reached 75,000, many of whom were captured. This battle also highlighted the critical role of technology in shaping battlefield success. The British Third Army, which lacked tank support, struggled to break through German defenses. In contrast, the British Fourth Army, which was reinforced with tanks, pushed through German lines more easily and rapidly. Although tanks had been used since 1916, it wasn't until this battle in 1918 that the Allies fully understood how to deploy them effectively in coordination with other forces. Amiens held strategic importance. The town sat on the railway line connecting Paris to the port city of Boulogne. As long as the Germans controlled Amiens, Allied supply lines remained vulnerable. Furthermore, the hills surrounding the town gave the Germans a visual advantage, allowing them to monitor Allied movements. Thus, to win the war, the Allies knew they had to take Amiens. Secrecy was key to the Allied strategy. Unlike traditional tactics in World War I, which usually started with a heavy artillery barrage, the attack on Amiens began without warning. To mislead the Germans, the British increased activity around Ypres in the north. Meanwhile, preparations for the actual attack in Amiens moved forward quietly. The result? A stunning surprise assault. In some areas, German troops surrendered en masse. Reports tell of German officers being captured in their rear positions while eating breakfast, highlighting how fast the Allied forces moved. Captain Edwin Francis Trundle of the Australian Army wrote a letter to his wife Louise on August 12th, the final day of the battle. Everything went perfectly, and everyone was in high spirits. Our attack completely surprised the Germans, he said. German General Erich von Ludendorff later described August 8, 1918 as the blackest day in the history of the German army. Another German officer and writer, Ernst Junge, himself a decorated war hero, wrote of Amiens, "All soldiers now realized that victory was no longer ours." Germany never recovered from the shock of the defeat at Amiens. The morale of both its army and civilian population collapsed. From that moment on, the Allies launched a series of relentless offensives, known as the 100 Days Offensive, eventually forcing Germany to sign the armistice on November 11, 1918. The Battle of Amiens not only opened the path to victory, it revolutionized how wars would be fought in the future. It marked the beginning of coordinated high-speed attacks where infantry no longer fought alone, but as part of a synchronized war machine. Catherine Long aptly called Amiens the first modern war orchestra, where all elements moved as one in a deadly symphony. Today, over a century later, the sacrifices made at Amiens still echo. Thousands of soldiers rest in cemeteries across northern France. The ground they won may have been just a few kilometers, but the legacy of their actions shaped the course of history. Because at Amiens, it wasn't just land that was won, it was the very direction of the war that was changed forever.